Okay, y'all. I'm here for an update, and gosh, let's see if we can get this a little louder. I'm still trying to figure out this microphone that I got, which is easier than the headset. Well, hopefully you can hear me. um, this is an update, and Merry Christmas, everybody. I had planned on going somewhere today, so I have my Christmas sweater on because I only get dressed once a day to save on energy. And because of my heart stuff, um, I'm just ramping too much, and I'll have to share what happened is I did more things than I normally do last week. With the holidays, I went shopping, I did my normal stuff with my boyfriend. I started doing more things in my park where I live to try to get out more and stuff. And I did way too much walking. Even though I do short things of walking, it still really adds up fast. You'd be surprised how your short little spurts of walking will make a difference. And I could tell I was ramping because my walking asymmetry goes up and down just like a yo-yo. And that's what my heart has been doing. My heart's been going up to 114. I've had it up all the way to 138 before. And then it goes back down to 90. And it does this like a yo-yo all day long. And it just exhausts you, okay? And then some days it decides to do the low end. So then your heart rate's dropping too low, it's going up and down. The maybe 60, 70, it's dropping down to 50, 40, up and down. Now I have adjusted some of my meds. I've even been putting some THC, CBD cream in my nose, which seems to keep me from dropping because I was dropping even lower than 40, okay? So I'm able to keep right now everything from 40 to about 114, which is better than 135 and 11, right? So we do what we got to do to stay alive. And I give God all the glory and thanks that I'm here today to share with you today. I did wear that halter for 24 hours. That's not enough time with a person with ALS. I happen to be doing good for my 3 days because with ALS we ramp. We have our couple good days, we have our bad days. And I happen to be on my better days, and they had me wear that 24 hours, and they couldn't find anything. They didn't echo my heart, they couldn't find anything. And then I did some more research because I didn't know how to and then I found, and I'm going to post this at the end of this video, and I posted it on my end of my last video, and I even posted it on here, what this video is about. This all started with me 15 years ago, okay? Affecting my heart rate going crazy, my blood pressure going crazy. My temperature was crazy. My digestion wasn't so bad then. Um, but this is a real thing that people with ALS get, and it's how mine started. And then I started falling down, started dropping things. Like again, I had the boot for both feet. So I went on those gummies, THC gummies, and that slowed down my cramping. And I'm so careful now. I haven't fallen down anymore. I wear these things. These things have really made a difference in my lifting, even lightweight things, not heavy things. If I lift too heavy of things, I always laugh. I said I put my compression socks on my arm and cut the feet out, and that gives enough pressure that it makes the pain and cramping go away. And this is why I wear compression socks 24/7. because that keeps the cramping down, or if I get the cramping, it's not near as horrible as if you don't wear them. So, my voice on my online thing where they measure my voice has went down to 22. But people still understand me, and people that know me their whole life will say, well, you sound funny. Well, I've had ALS for 9 years and I'm still talking. That's a miracle in itself. And yes, I may sound different, but I can still talk, okay? So anyway, the Halter thing, if you have ALS and the doctor wants to do this, my neurologist wanted me to wear that for 5 days. But because of everything messed up right now with the medical system, they only had two, and they had such a lineup. Everybody got to wear it for 12 hours, which doesn't give them a good what's going on in our bodies, okay? This is why I do everything myself, and I go see my doctors, and I tell them what's going on, and I tell them what I'm doing about it, and they just agree with me because they have no idea. And my neurologist even admitted when I was diagnosed, I said, there's nothing to cure us people. And he says, you're right. So my main goal when I got diagnosed, and I was having all these weird things, they wanted to put a pacemaker in me. I ended up in Iowa City when I still lived up in Iowa, and they almost killed me putting a nitrate in me because my blood pressure was off the chart, my heart rates were. They could not find one thing wrong that was causing it, okay? All my doctors, I was in and out of hospital all the time with this problem, and nobody could find out what was causing it. And then when we found out I had ALS and I started researching, I thought, oh my gosh, this is how my ALS started 5 years before I ever got diagnosed 9 years ago, okay? So anyway, I don't know how many of you experience this, but if you're a caretaker too, I would, or anybody, I would, I use these little things, and I went and got me one of these rings. Now, the main thing, it measures stuff, but I like this better for your oxygen and it's easier to do, just stick on your finger and do. But this is what I got because when I went from a BiPAP or a BiPAP SV, and they put me on the NIV vent, I couldn't read my readings every night, and I like to monitor those for the heart and for the oxygen, what my body's doing at night. Okay, and this is great. It tells me how many hours I sleep, what my REM sleep is, what my other sleep is. It tells me how far my heart goes down and goes up when I'm sleeping. I just like to monitor all this stuff, and I do all day long. I know that sounds crazy, but sometimes I don't, but then I'll feel weird and I'll check and it's like, oh gee, my heart rate's clear up there again. I like to stay on top of things, okay? And like I said, my goal is to take care of myself as long as I can and be as mobile as I can. Now I have a boyfriend and he comes about every 3 days and stays 4 days with me. And he's great. He will remind me of things. If I can't lift something, he will help me with that. He just, he does all kinds of things to help me. Even where I sit here, I don't have a wheelchair, but I sat in this computer chair all day. Well, he bought me a cute little footrest I can put my feet on and rest. I sat, again, I sat in front of these big windows and I can see the mountains and the trees and all the people and activity outside. And that's where I sat all day to rest instead of laying in bed all day. I just I may not have that much energy when my ramping is going on like it is right now, but I can rest and I just try to entertain myself the best I can. But I wanted to update you on the Halter thing. That was very disappointing. It's kind of like when I went to the oxygen doctor and they had me set up and I just got off my NIV vent and breathed and they said, well, your oxygen's fine. Well, they don't know that. With an ALS patient, they're supposed to lay you down because that's when your oxygen drops the worst, okay? And your heart rate goes down the minute you lay down. And so they need to check your oxygen laying down with ALS, but these people don't know that. And that's what's sad. And ALS affects us all different. And even now they're finding out more things affecting ALS, just like, just like this. So I do research, and if there's something that I want to really push is go to Facebook, sign up on some of these ALS sites. That's how I found out about these things, these IMAX. And then I bought rings, and that little bit of weight has helped my fingers still work. I have figured out, with God's help, things that helps me function more, okay? And even that CBD, if you can buy some CBD cream with THC and CBD, I'm doing some 1,000. I think they have some with 500. And I stick my finger and stick that in my nose. That is working fantastic. The other day when my heart rate was going up so high and rampant, I thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to have a heart attack here, okay? And I went and put that stuff in my nose. What do I got to lose? And you know what? It settled everything down. My heart went back down to like 78. And that stuff works. But now I have, the thing that confuses me, I have hereditary ALS, okay? So I have the genes in my brain. So when I put that in my nose, it goes up to my brain, and I think it slows my ALS down, okay? Now, but regular ALS, they're not sure what causes it, but I think our brain affects a lot of our health and stuff, okay? What goes on in our brain. So even if you're not hereditary, I would try to go buy some of this stuff and stick a little bit in your nose and see if you don't feel better. And if it doesn't level you out more, then everything's better, okay? I'm here just to try to help everybody. Things that I share, I've learned or I've researched all over the world. Just so you all know, I was a jungle doctor 10 years ago over in Belize. I even lived over there for a while. And I took mission trip teams, mostly doctors and nurses and medical students, and we went out into the jungles and helped, do medical, and I worked with the Ministry of Health. So maybe that's why I'm more researchy and more basic things, and even the marijuana and the CBD, that's why because I'm all for this, because it's the only thing, the cannabis is the only stuff I've seen that has slowed down people's ALS and they have lived longer. The cannabis, the BiPAP ASV or the NIV vent, not a CPAP, folks. That'll give you more CO2 in your brain, okay? But because of the stupid insurance companies, you have to fail the CPAP before they'll even pay for the BiPAP. I already went through that, and I already went through all that crap. I got worse. I was getting that with my brain and my body all over the place, and my doctors were like, wow, what's going on with this lady? Well, thank goodness. By then, they thought I probably had ALS, and I told him that. And he says, no wonder And I have been so blessed that God has given me the right doctors, the right therapists. You know, he tried me on the BiPAP ASV and I did great. And I was on that for 8 years. And then I started getting CO2 again. That's when you can't even remember who you are, okay? You know something's off and you know you can't remember it, okay, with CO2. That's the best way to describe it I can. And you feel sick as it can be. And that's when they said, I don't know if my ASV quit and my BiPAP, I kind of suspect that, or maybe my diaphragm got weaker because I am 9 years. And so they put me on the NIV vent. That was a game changer. I started doing better again, okay? And on the CBD and the THC gummies, for all of us that are still taking it, I'm always moving those around. The dosage, I'm always moving around. Whatever my ALS is doing that week, you know, I adjust to that, okay? Like I've been ramping so bad this week and I've been trying all kinds of stuff. And I have to say the best thing was the CBD and the THC and the cream in my nose seemed to kind of regulate things the best. So anyway, Merry Christmas, and I hope this brings some insight. I seen a thing today where a guy was saying I can't crap. I mean, it's real. I had that. And if you watch these forums, many people end up in the hospital with impactions, okay? So what you want to do is you want to find something. Now I found this, it's called Emma. It's EMMA, and I got it. It's give your gut a vacation, it says. But it has all kinds of natural vitamins and stuff in there. I mean, it's got vitamin D, it's got thiamine, it's got niacin, vitamin B6. I mean, you name it, and it's got it in here. And so it says to take 2 a day, they're tablets, but I only took 1 a day. And then after a while, I was going too much. And so I backed it down where I take 1 every 3 days. And that seems to be working really well with my system because I could tell how I could know that I was getting impacted is I was starting to put some weight on. I put 3 pounds on and I lose weight. I don't put weight on. And I thought I'm full of crap, and I was. And this did get me open and clean me out. And now it's keeping me so I don't have that impaction again. And let's talk phlegm, everybody. I use this mucus relief. I take that. Sometimes my meds, my THC that I take, that helps slow down my mucus and too, because my mucus has been out of control. Now, I went to Mexico and got this Sulflaxina, but it's Sulflaxin, okay? 500 milligrams. I take those sometimes 1 a day just to keep the infection down in my body because the phlegm is so bad all the time. This phlegm, I have a theory, and I would love to hear from some of you that started out with the vulvar part because that probably was me 9 years ago. I think the phlegm gets in our digestive system, the phlegm gets in our sinus system, the phlegm gets in our, you name it, our stomach, it goes into our lungs, it goes into our voice box. Now, if the phlegm gets in your voice box, it's going to cause an infection and you're going to lose your voice. And that's my theory on ALS. Now, I could be wrong, but I look at everything very simply. I don't get so deep in everything. And you know what? I tested the theory and it worked for me. So what I've been doing is taking 1 of my antibiotics for my lungs every morning, 1. You go get them from your doctor, and they say, you take 3 or 4 a day. But I think if you just do a maintenance, if you're getting horrible phlegm, once a flax in the morning, I think that's going to help keep you from ending up in the hospital. My goal is not to be in the hospital. And since I've been diagnosed with ALS, I have never been hospitalized. Before I got diagnosed, I was hospitalized all the time because they couldn't figure out what was going on with me. Once I knew what was wrong with me and I started studying this disease, I started doing very simple, not expensive things. And then I ended up getting that COVID that time, and everything collapsed, and hospice came in here. This lady told me, I've never met anybody that takes like you do. And she said, you're going to be here a long time. And in all honesty, the doctor sent me home to die because I refused the invasive breathing, and my veins and arteries collapsed. I mean, it's crazy. God has been so good to me. And I try to listen to Him on things to do, and there's been some weird things I do, but you know what? It works. So don't be afraid to try things, but don't chase some of these things where people are making a fortune off of you guys because you have ALS, okay? The cannabinoid and cannabis, I think, is such a healer. I even healed my cancer with these THC gummies, everybody. I've got a whole video on that. You know what? The doctors don't want us to know that because then nobody's going to make any money. Everything's about making money anymore. I mean, it just drives me crazy. And I'm very blessed. The few doctors I go see, because I need my prescription sometimes, or I don't know, I'm getting to where, like I'm going to go do my mammogram the end of this month, and it's been 2 years since I had my cancer. And I cured it with the THC, so we'll see. I'm thinking everything will probably be fine this year too, and I'll let you know, and I'll report back after we find out if that's okay. Okay. But I just wanted. I finally found where they have admitted that ALS, because some doctors say, well, ALS doesn't affect your heart, it don't affect it. Yes, it does. It affects every muscle in your body, and everybody is different. And that's how my ALS started, okay? People look at me and they, well, you look fine. Well, I walk funny a little bit, and I talk funny a little bit, and compared to how I used to talk, but internally I'm a mess. My ALS probably started out with the opposite of most people. Most people lose their feeling in their arms and legs and immobile, and then all this other stuff starts. And I've been dealing with this stuff for 15 years. I looked at my old sleep study, and they said it was funny because my legs shook when I was sleeping. Now I have a C9 and an ALS2 gene. My dad's leg always shook too, and he had ALS. So I'm thinking the ALS2 gene has something to do with this restless leg syndrome or whatever you call it, because I've always done this and he always did it. So that's another theory of mine, but it fits, okay? So anyway, the bottom line is we do what we gotta do to stay alive. And again, everybody, I'm here as long as good Lord wants me. When it's time for good Lord to take me home, He will take me home, and I'm okay with that too. But while I'm here, I hope I can help people be pain-free. That's what my goal is every day, and I have to say, most days I am pain-free. Now, if I overdo, I have these horrible cramps, my own self to blame because I shouldn't have overdone, okay? But You listen to your body. If you listen to your body, it will tell you when you overdo things. And if your arms ache, you lifted something too heavy. The minute I have any pain, more mucus, anything, I stop and think, what did I do yesterday? And I can tell you what I did that caused my pain today. Okay, I can always figure it out. So then you don't do that, or you don't lift anything quite that heavy now. You let somebody do that for you, and you lift, what you can lift. Um, but you also have to move your body a little bit. As crazy as it sounds, my boyfriend takes me over to the casino and we walk from the car to the casino. Okay, that's a long ways for me to walk without sitting down, but I do it. I go up the big stairs there very slow. I go down the stairs just to see if I can still do it and keep my brain thinking of how to do that, okay? Um, it's a little thing. And then when I'm in the casino, I might put $5 on a game, but I walk from this area to this area. I sit down, I play the game, I rest a minute, I go walk over here, I rest a minute, I walk over here. I can get 2 miles in a day and didn't put any stress on my body, but got some exercise. And what's funny is they told me that the when they were doing a college study with me, she says, "Why your oxygen's doing better? What are you doing?" And I started giggling, and I says, "My boyfriend takes me to the casino." She says, "That's crazy with all the smoke." I said, "I know, but you know what? It's working, so why not?" And that's what I do. Well, God bless everybody, and Merry Christmas, and we hope to see you again, God willing, in a couple weeks. God bless. Bye bye. Whoops.